You will meet a lot of people, no doubt about it, but you're making a lot of friends.
You'll forget your own language as well, honestly.
Yeah. Myths.
Yeah.
Cherry tomatoes, normal tomatoes.
You have to
This
buy
is the
sad
price.
tomatoes.
Yeah, this is the price. This tastes better, but this is cheaper.
Yeah.
You will have a Saturday and Sunday where you've done nothing. You've not done your laundry. You've not cooked food. You've not cleaned your room. You have just sat and watched YouTube. You've done nothing.
But along the road, you meet a couple of good people.
And there was something that I recently realized. That was when we were back home. I used to go on Google and I used to see all of these, pros and cons of living abroad as
Yeah.
a uni student. Is it really for you?
Yeah.
Like all of those articles that are there, right?
Yeah.
And you're like going through, oh, I can do this, I cannot do this, oh, this is what's gonna happen. And then obviously you have Indian parents who are
Yeah.
like, you have to do everything by yourself now. Nobody's gonna come and give you anything.
Yeah.
When you're sick, you have to make your own food.
Yeah.
Like all of those things,
Yeah.
right? The fact that once we're here, I never actually revisited those articles to see whether what they're saying actually
Yeah.
happens or not happens. I was like, oh shit, I should do this.
Yeah.
Sort of done is I've prepared like these headers, and we are gonna read these headers of pros and cons out. And I want to see like what is the actual reaction
Shoot.
once you're here, because like you've not thought about it,
Oh
right?
my god.
So okay, let's do pros because obviously good things happen first. So the first one, okay, it says being independent.
Bro, it actually is true. Like, see, stuff I would have never done back home. I've been doing it here. I'm like, where's my mom? Like, but then once you've done it, it seems easy. Like, it's editing seems easy once you do it, like opening a bank account and stuff like that. You don't think you will be able to do it when you're just thinking about it. But once you have done it, you're like, oh, I'm a pro. I can do this. And it gives you that confidence.
Yeah.
What about you?
I think it makes you independent to a very big level. Like I fell sick as well. I regained my strength. I decided on a lot of things by myself. I didn't take like opinions were there. Of course, it's not like your family is just vanished away.
Exactly.
But the fact that even the smallest of things, right? Like which toothpaste is good for you. you like I have never used Google as much as I use it now. Like
True.
whether it is to understand why am I getting a flu or whether it is to understand which toothpaste is actually good for my teeth.
Yeah.
I think everything is like because you're doing it for yourself and by yourself, it just sort of gives you that
Decision making power.
yeah that okay, I'm living my life my way.
Right. Yeah.
The second pro is new connections.
That's a very dicey pro to be like just to make a decision about it.
You will meet a lot of people, no doubt about it, but you're making a lot of friends.
True, especially at this age, to be honest. If you are thinking of undergrad, it'd be so much easier for you because undergrad, everybody is young and naive and just figuring out life, and they are all like everybody, people who are from that country, people who have just moved, they're all in that phase of okay, I want to connect more, I want to make friends. They are all like more amiable, to be honest. But when you come here at like 21. And people over here have already finished their bachelors, they've already made their friends, they have their groups. You have your own group back home that you're leaving. So that like the fact that you're leaving good connections behind and you have to make new ones, and the new ones aren't really welcoming because they themselves have their own thing. So it's the reality of life that you are not going to be like, oh, it's not going to be like instant connection and instant friendship. But along the road, you meet a couple of good people.
That's true.
You sort of vibe with and you like spending time with them. So you will meet friends, but don't expect to be like, oh yeah, I have a group already. I'm just gonna go out with them. Like that's not going to work out.
So like the other pro point was exploring new cultures and learning new languages.
So like if you're going to an English speaking country, forget about it. You'll forget your own language as well, honestly, because you don't get to speak anything except English, but you will become more fluent. That's a good thing. Another thing is that other cultures is true. Like, you get to know how people from like New Zealand are living. So I know that how their like families function, how what their family culture is, what they have done, what experience, what growing up experiences do they have, like are they different from what we have in India.
Yeah.
So that kind of like differences and stuff you do understand, and you meet other international students, so you get to
Yeah.
know about their culture. So yes, that is a good thing. Like, you do get to know a lot. Yeah, but experiencing it is not that great. Like,
Yeah.
I don't think, because it's a westernized country at the end of the day. So unless and until you're going to a very European country which has its own set of like uh let's suppose if you're going to like Germany or Spain, which is like really, not an English speaking country,
Yeah.
but has its own like culture. Unless and until that's the case, it's just going to be just going to be like westernized. That's
Yeah.
it.
True. I think New Zealand as a country has such a high influx of people coming from all over the world.
Yeah.
Like the country by itself is slowly becoming multicultural than
True.
just being an English speaking country. Because no matter which ticket corner you go to, like I know Germans will be able to find Germans, Indians will be able to find Indians. Like it's common to like
Yeah.
like see that happening in New Zealand because there are so many
True.
people that have like come
Yeah.
to the country. The other pro pointer is traveling.
Uh,
Myths.
yeah, that's a con unless and until you have a lot of like resources for, I don't know, just your own car or whatever. If you have those resources, go crazy. You have the world is your oyster. You can go and see whatever you want. But if you're a struggling international student, don't come with the expectation that I'm going to see everything. No, you're just going to be studying and cooking, and that's it. As for like, there are opportunities to go out, and stuff works out. You do get to go and see places, and I'm really happy that I could do that. But honestly, it's not something you should expect before coming. Like, that should not be one of your priorities, because to getting to that point takes time.
Yeah, I think if you have the budgets or the resources for it as a student,
Yeah.
like every student has a different budget in life
True.
any which way. So if you have the resources for it, great,
Yeah,
good going.
please, yeah,
Go for it,
exactly.
and like don't miss out on it.
Yeah.
Like really do explore the country that you're going to study in.
Yeah.
But if you are a student who has planned life for long term, then you need to sort of you know figure things out before you just take a leap and like start traveling
Yeah.
like a nomad. Yeah, I think you definitely need, if you're coming in New Zealand, you need a car.
You need a car.
Um, Another pro was like, I probably think it's the last pro, was the pointer of broad thinking when it comes to your Indian mentality. If you are willing to change it, is when you will be able to have a broad thinking.
That's an
If you,
important
yeah,
caveat to this.
if
I agree.
yeah, like so if you are looking forward to like you know accept what's
Yeah.
out there and be willing to like make the necessary changes in your thinking, is
Uh-huh.
when yes, you can go back with an open mind or not go back.
Uh,
But have an open mind. uh but yeah, otherwise I
Otherwise, yeah. So if you were coming with your, I am the best or whatever I think is the best, or I know what is right and wrong, you will have a tough time adjusting anywhere, anywhere.
Yeah.
Because honestly, there are some things over here. Like, I see so many single mothers over here. Like, you have not seen single mothers in India ever, ever.
Yeah.
So, and even though in your like, you might be thinking when you're back home, you think, okay, okay, single motherhood is good, okay, but the realities of it, you come when you interact with the people who are single mothers, like those, in that sense you do get to like expand your
Broaden,
thinking. That's what I'm saying, that if you just uh, whatever you think is right or wrong in your head is you face those things in reality, and then you know how to make a decision if you think they're right or wrong, like that really makes you confront your own values, your own principles, basically. So yeah, in that sense it does help you expand it, but you need to be willing to do it. If you aren't willing, it's useless.
True. Going to the cons of living abroad as a uni student. The first one is, it's my personal favorite, figuring out how to be independent. it's it's really like, I would say it's a con,
It
because
is.
you have just been given these statements that you're gonna have to do things by yourself, nobody is giving you like
How?
a crash course on
Yeah.
how you're going to be independent. So when you're like left alone, the first, I would say, I'll give you like a month or two where you are, you're all good by yourself.
Yeah.
You are like keeping everything hygienic, maintained, cooking food regularly, eating good, keeping healthy habits,
Yeah.
all of those sort of things. When the third month starts kicking in, because now you have a routine, now you have
Yeah.
thousand things that are going
Yeah.
around, the fact that nobody taught you how to how to
Keep
like
going. Yeah.
is something that's gonna be missing all the time.
True.
So yeah, and nobody can actually teach you. It's not that I'm joking, but like nobody can teach you how to be independent.
Nobody can.
It's just something you're gonna
Figure out.
yeah.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. It's like that is a con. That struggle is a struggle. Like, where people say that you are gonna go outside, like you're gonna go leave your country and there's going to be a struggle. They just aren't saying it for the sake because the word struggle sounds. It actually is.
Yeah.
You do it for a day or two, like, oh yeah, I did it, yay.
Yeah.
But then if you do it again and again and again,
Yeah.
every day living by yourself, at a point you'll be like, I'm done. Like, that does that back and forth of I'm done and I can do it.
Yeah.
That is the struggle, and that is the con of figuring out how to
Figuring out,
be
yeah.
independent.
Yeah. Times when you're like, not feeling the best version of yourself,
Yeah.
and like you're on the bed, want somebody to make Maggie. Nobody's
Yeah,
making Maggie.
exactly. The fact that you have to, like, even you have to eat because you have to survive, and you
Yeah.
want to have something good
Yeah.
that you want to eat, and you know how to make it, but
Yeah.
the whole thing of just getting up and doing it yourself for yourself is that
Yeah.
two steps are just
Yeah, I think
incredibly hard.
responsibility per se, like as well, like
Yeah.
the word responsibility, like
True.
it plays a major
Yeah. True.
role in your life, and that's something that is a con. You have to give it time, and you have to push yourself as well. Like you can't
Yeah.
just go like, "Arey, like ho jayega figure
Yeah.
out." Like no, you're
Yeah.
gonna have to put efforts to like.
You have to be on it. Like, you have to try every day, basically. Which sounds so motivational.
Yeah,
Oh, you can try every day.
no, you will have
It
bad
is the
days.
truth.
You will have a Saturday and Sunday where you've done nothing. You've not done your laundry. You've not cooked food. You've not cleaned your room. You have just sat and watched YouTube. You've done nothing.
Me this Saturday. But okay, let's not talk about that.
Yeah,
That's
so
different.
like you are gonna have those days,
Yeah.
but then again, like on Monday you have to push
Get up
yourself
and go to
like,
lectures. Yeah, you have to do all
you
of
have
that.
to do it. So yeah, that is the next con is expenses.
Yes, yes. The biggest con. It's actually it is. Because honestly, when you're like, I don't know, it's not that you aren't aware of how much you're spending when you're back home. You have to be aware, like, unless and until you are from that, like, culture where you haven't been taught to be aware. You know how much you should and shouldn't spend, and how much you should, you are budgeting in yourself.
Yeah.
But you at that point you're just budgeting for like your entertainment, basically, your enjoyment.
Yeah.
The things you want. So maybe you'll be like, I don't want to buy these pair of shoes because they're so expensive. And in your mind, you might feel, okay, look at me, I'm so responsible with my money.
Yeah.
But that's nothing. That's nothing. When you come here and you have to make the decision of like food, I do want to buy.
Yeah. Cherry tomatoes, normal tomatoes.
You want to
This
buy
is the
canned
price.
tomatoes?
Yeah, this is the price. This tastes better, but this is cheaper.
Yeah.
This is cheaper, but does not taste good. So like choosing between the right
Exactly,
tomatoes.
exactly. It's
Yeah.
like the small things, like
Yeah.
just grocery shopping also takes, like, 1 week you want to buy like just the healthy stuff and things like that, and 1 week you want to buy something
Junk. Yeah.
junk, but then you have to also be healthy.
Yeah.
So you have to make that decision that, okay, should I spend on this or this or this or this, and that everyday spending is
Yeah.
important.
Yeah. I think expenses per se, any which way, like even the people who probably don't have a lot of difference, like a lot of what is it, foreign exchange difference,
Yeah.
still have the struggle of expenses, because for them earning that much money, or for them to be able to spend that much money, is also
Same, yeah.
also an issue. So the first thing that I would say is like people need to realize that they need to stop converting their money from like, okay, this is dollars, and so converting it with this rate is going to be this much Indian rupees, and
Yeah.
now it's affordable. Okay, you can do that in the start because you've got money and
Yeah.
you want to see how much you're spending. Eventually, you're gonna have to leave that habit because things are expensive
So
and you
you have
need to
to
like
you have to survive. Yeah.
you have to survive. So you need to learn how to invest or how to invest your expense in the
Right way.
Yeah.
Sure. But also don't stop converting, because what happens sometimes
Yeah.
is when you like start earning and you are like
Yeah.
in that like same economy as the rest of your
Yeah.
people, other people around you, you sometimes forget that this like the thing which you're buying here for $5
Yeah.
is like just like it's
Yeah.
1/3 of the price, like
Price,
in
yeah.
India. So like just because some things are unnecessary, like
Yeah.
like I'm not saying to stop all the unnecessary expenses. You have to like treat yourself sometimes. Of
Yeah.
course, that's important. But just be mindful, basically.
Yeah,
Be
like
mindful about
I
it.
remember the first time that I went into a grocery store here. I went in and the first thing I saw in the machine was Coca Cola.
Ah, cool, okay.
It said like the small can said $2.50. I converted it. It's like 150 rupees. Are you kidding me? I am not giving 150 rupees to drink 220 ml of Coke,
Coke,
which is
yeah.
20 Indian rupees back home.
20. That's
Yeah.
like that's not even that doesn't measure up at
That's
all.
the disparity or the
Yeah.
difference. And then, see, in a way, it is good. So you're not gonna consume carbonated drinks, so you're maintaining a good life.
But how long?
Yeah,
At
for
some
how
point
long?
you're
Yeah.
gonna buy it
Yeah,
anyway.
and
Yeah.
then eventually, when you start earning in dollars, you're gonna go like, $2 doesn't
Nothing.
matter.
Yeah.
So that difference slowly comes into life. But yeah, you just need to also remember the fact that $20 for somebody might just be 20 bucks.
Yeah.
But for you to earn those $20 also has taken something. So
True.
eventually, when you're like starting with a student life, you need to be very mindful of
Very mindful.
the dollars that
Yeah.
you're earning or
Yeah.
spending. Cons, the other thing is loneliness, homesickness, and FOMO.
Oh Lord. Yes. Very big con.
Yeah.
Very big con, because you might like when I was back home, like not like now, not when it happened in reality and I was actually applying. But when I was just like contemplating, when you're like a child, in your first year of bachelor's, you're like, oh, I want to do a master's outside. You're having these like big, like, fantasy dreams about what life will be like. You think, I will not miss anybody from back home. Who's there to miss? I will call every day, we'll be on like video call. It's like you feel like it's easy to like not miss your family or anything like that. But it does happen. It hits you so hard once you are here alone, and especially in that limbo when you are making friends, right? When you are just trying to expand and your connections, as we talked about in the pros. In that like process, you really at that process you have nobody. You are trying to make friends, but before you are at that friendship position, you have nobody. It's just you and nobody else. Like for the first time you realize, okay, in India, even if your parents are out of town or whatever, you have relatives, you have family friends, you have this person, that person.
And also, you know the fact that they're coming back in
Yeah,
3 days. Like, I
exactly.
only have 3 days with the entire room. Here, you don't know when
Exactly.
you're
You
coming.
know that no matter what, there is a support system behind you. Here, you don't have that support system. You are just, it's just you. And when that reality settles in, that is worse than any actual feeling of loneliness, because that makes you feel like just completely like, like you're a fish out of water. Like you're just like, struggling. And yeah, so that's there. But FOMO, of course, if people back home, like friends back home, meet up, they go for like, they actually have those experiences that you are trying to have over here. And then you're like, oh, can I please come back? Can I please go back and like, just meet my friends one last time? Like those things happen a lot.
I think I remember very well that till the time I reached the airport. Okay, before that, everything was fine. I was super excited, super pumped up to go have all of these experiences, cooked up all of these scenarios in my head. You're good. I reached the airport and it was time to like say bye. And then I started hugging everyone who had come to like see me off. That hit.
Ooh. Oh, I can know. I relate. Oh my god. It was not even the airport. It was the fact that I was leaving my house.
Yeah, like the fact that you're here and the slimmest of chance of somebody coming, like somebody from home coming to meet you, is still months away.
True.
Like, I mean, there are people who can afford it,
Afford
and
it, yeah.
then they like figure their things
Yeah.
out, which is really great
Good
for
for
them.
them, yeah.
But the people who don't have that choice, there are people who wait for 8 months. There are people who have that wait for 2 years. There are
Years.
people who wait for 5, 6 years before they end up doing that. And I think that it does hit in. Loneliness is a part of it, because sometimes you feel like your room is like that one cubicle that you're in, and like, there's nobody to talk
Nobody
to,
to talk
and
to.
you feel like a lot of people say that you will eventually make friends and you'll have your group and then you'll feel better. It's not so easy to
Not so
find
easy.
people and like go like, okay,
So
this
we
is
are
my group.
exactly, we
Yeah,
are still in the process of doing that.
doing
Like,
that. Yeah,
yeah, it's like, you have those things that I'm going to make friends who are like family,
yeah,
and maybe that will happen one day. Like, fingers crossed. Of course, I want that,
yeah,
but it's still like you don't just meet
yeah.
instantly and like, oh yeah, we're family now.
Yeah.
It doesn't work like
Work
that,
like
right?
that. Yeah,
What you have with your family is always going to be different, because even if you are just doing your own thing, everybody's like, your parents are at work, you are doing this, you're,
yeah,
even if that is the case, you are still at the end of the day coming, like every day you come to the same house, you are at the same place, you know the
place. Yeah,
routines, you know what's happening. You have that comfort with just having those people around you, even if you
around.
don't speak to them the entire day.
Yeah,
So that also feels like, oh my god, like I don't know anybody around me, I don't know what they're doing, what's happening.
yeah,
Like, just knowing that, okay, you just know what you are doing, and that's it.
yeah.
That's it.
Yeah,
It's
true.
just, yeah. And one more thing is, when you video call your parents or anybody back home and you see your house from the background, oh my god. The FOMO that hits because of that, because you're just looking at your room or your, like, I don't know, just like you're seeing
Yeah,
that that's the place you grew up in, right? So you
yeah,
have that emotional attachment to your
yeah,
house,
yeah.
and just looking at them in the background only, just that also, like, you know makes you
Makes you
feel
feel like,
like,
yeah.
yeah.
So the last con that is there on the list is expectations and social pressure. I'll take this one. So
Because I'm not social, but okay.
yeah, you are much more social than I am. But so okay, social pressure in a way that you don't have friends. You really want to have
Yeah,
people around you
yeah,
that you can just meet in the evening when you're like too
yeah.
bored. So the pressure of turning up at events or parties or like gatherings
Yeah.
is there. It's inevitably there.
Yeah.
The social pressure of not being invited is also there. Like, you may not be welcomed, and at times you
Yeah.
just want to, like, make new friends, and you
True.
want to be invited by certain
Yeah.
people. So those sort of things happen, and because it is an international country with a lot of other international students with a lot of different behaviors,
Yeah.
attitudes, and temperamental issues, it's like the pressure is real.
Yeah.
Like, it's there, no doubt about it, that making friends is has its own social
Yeah.
pressure. And the fact that you want to get to know a lot of people and make new connections,
Yeah.
and all those sort of things, like, that is there. When it comes to expectations, I don't think anybody is expecting anything out of us. Expectations would not be a cause, but social pressure will.
Yeah. So when you said social pressures, I was thinking like social pressures of being in this culture. So I didn't
Oh,
think there
yeah.
were many. Like, to be honest, yeah, because again, because you're new and you are here for the first time, so nobody really knows you. So they don't, of course, have, like, they don't expect you to behave in a certain way in a
Yeah.
social situation. But I get that thing about wanting to be in a social like environment, like
Yeah.
being invited to like events, and then having just having the opportunity to make connections.
Connections, yeah.
So yeah, apart from like the O week, there hasn't been any opportunity to make
Yeah.
that kind of connection, which it is true, and which is also, it is 100% a con. Like, you just go to your lecture, see the same people, and if you already have tried that door before, and those people aren't going to be welcoming or just aren't your vibe, you're like, okay, that people like that is out of the way. You can't really expect to make friends there.
There.
So the new social like experience thing is true. Yeah.
I think that's it for the list per se, and that's pretty much how the entire journey works. I
True.
think somewhere it is the same for everybody. Like, you're applying, you're waiting, and you're coming, and then
Yeah.
you're like seeing all of these experiences. No matter which country you're going to, I think the only difference would be the culture that you're going to
Yeah.
experience. But otherwise, I think life is pretty much how it works for an international student.
True.
It's not very butterfly in the stomach all the time.
Never.
Yeah, like a lot of
It's like
people have these images, and I feel like
yeah,
it's
it's
not
like
like that.
it's your own made up belief of how it's going to be that's going to end up hurting you. To be
Yeah,
honest, if you
yeah,
come up with like things that I want this and I want that, and it's how it's going to be. If you aren't flexible about what you
yeah,
will experience, and if you
yeah.
have like those, it's not going to be the same. It's going to cause cognitive dissonance. It's not going to be the
The same, yeah.
same.
So yeah, that's pretty much it for today. Thank you so much, Mahi, for joining us. I hope you all had a fun time. I hope the conversations that we had were meaningful, were helpful, and if there's anything else that you would like to know or would you like to understand, drop in the comments so that we can help you out or not. But yes, that was it on the flip side. Thank you so much for watching.
Yay!